Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Trading Table. This is Andrew. Joining with me is Landon, and today we're going to be looking at some of the stocks that we're watching to the upside in these next coming weeks and months. These are going to be long-term plays, and we do recommend buying shares of these, although, you can definitely buy long-term call options too if that's more your taste. Just because we say something doesn't mean you shouldn't do your own homework, so just keep that in mind while you're watching this video. But here's what we're going to be watching to the upside in these next few months. So looking at our first one, right, we have Shop, also known as Shopify, right? You probably could have guessed that from the ticker symbol. But Shopify is an e-commerce platform provider, and it's been gaining some attention due to its recent partnership with Target to bring new merchants to its digital marketplace. So we've got a moderate buy rating by analysts here and a target price of 75.63. So you got an upside potential there of around 11.83%. So ideally here on Shopify, right, as we can see by the chart, we're in an uptrend, right? We've got some pullbacks to push, higher, right, without breaking that former area. So Shopify, it's coming down from a pretty deep downtrend, right? So I do really think that this can recover. One thing to watch, though, is we do have earnings coming out on the end of this month at July 31st. So if you were holding shares, just be wary. That could come out and really mess things up or be really good. I don't recommend playing earnings, but if you really do want to hold this for the long term, I do see a lot of upside potential with Shopify, and I'm definitely not opposed to it, right? I wouldn't say hop in it right away at market open, right? I want to see it break above the 68 level and stay back above before, we take any action on it. But definitely going to be watching Shopify there in these next coming months.
Yeah, I really like that one, Andrew. But moving on to our next one, we have ticker symbol AMD. For those of you who don't know what this is basically a semiconductor business, right? So they operate through things like data centers, client, gaming, and embedded. Really good stock here. And if you guys are familiar with semiconductor companies, you know how much of a run they've had this year. But actually, since I would say March 7th, we'd have quite a pullback. And then after that pullback, we've had a little bit of a bounce and then a consolidation period. And now you're starting to see the start of an uptrend. That's what we see with these two big green candles and kind of a very little red. That's the beginning of an uptrend. So I really like AMD here to the upside. And looking at analyst projections, all strong buys, technicals, all says strong buys. Really like this stock, and the semiconductor sector as a whole is really strong for this year. AMD not too expensive. Really like this stock here. We could see this stock go back up to 220, like it was on the 7th of March. Really good buy here for the long run. But moving on to our next one, we have FCX, right? And so FCX is basically a mineral company, right? So they basically engage in things like mining copper, gold, and other minerals in North America and South America. But looking at the chart here, what you could see is actually starting from July 27th of 2023 all the way to March 24th. I'm just going to put you guys on a little bit of market structure here. We actually have what we like to call an ascending triangle contracting, right? And after March 12th, we actually saw it break the resistance of that ascending triangle contracting. So we saw a really good move upwards, and that's actually what we're in now. And the target price for that ascending triangle is 58.98. That's our target price, and we are not there at all yet, guys. So we've had three really big green candles. So that shows you, the start of a really strong uptrend. I really like this stock to the upside. It's very likely we see it get up to that 58.89 price point. Analysts say it's a buy. Technicals say it's a buy. Really solid stock all around. The sector as a whole has been doing good, and not too expensive. That's always something to keep in mind. But really solid stock here as well. But moving on, Andrew.
Yeah, Landon, FCX really good here, especially if we see, gold keep increasing its strong buy, right? Gold has been pretty bullish these past few months, and definitely a good buy here, especially with all the mines and stuff that were found in like Wisconsin. This company mainly mines in North America, right? And they found like a bunch of minerals in Wisconsin. So definitely watching FCX to the upside here. Moving on to our next one though, we've got GFS, right? GFS is a semiconductor foundry. So in other words, a semiconductor factory. And as you know, with the semiconductor field, right, you see a pretty strong uptrend there. And GFS is really actually one of my more favorable companies on this list, just because, during the gold rush, people got rich selling shovels to the miners, not mining gold, right? And that's exactly what GFS is doing. They're selling these semiconductors that these companies use. So they're pretty crucial in the supply chain for various industries, not just like gaming and AI. It includes automotive, communications, and computing. This company has seen positive sentiment due to the ongoing chip shortage and increasing demand for semiconductors. So GFS is definitely a key player here in addressing these market needs, and I definitely expect continued growth here for GFS. As we can see, earnings kind of sent this into a, upward spiral followed by a downward spiral here, and we can see this volume candle, right? That's a lot of volume. If we go ahead and turn on our volume here, we can see that's over 12.35 million shares sold. So, definitely got oversold a little bit there, but it's definitely recovering very nicely. And I want to see a continuation of GFS, right? We're definitely in an uptrend right now, as we can see by this little pullback and then a nice push higher here on Friday, right? Moved over 4%. But don't be scared that you're getting in at the peak here. If we, scroll out a little bit on GFS's chart, right, we can see that it pushing up is not new. We were at 79.33 on March 28th, 2022. Right around that area is pretty nice. But, for all of these stocks, don't just take this advice and not have like a stop loss set or, a price that you're watching for a break under to leave it, right? You don't want to just, dump your whole account into something and just pray it'll go up, right? So let's just keep an eye on GFS here, but definitely one of my more favored plays on this list, just because they're literally selling shovels to the gold miners. But moving on to our next one, right? We've got ticker symbol SIRI, better known as SiriusXM. This one, also one of my favorites, just because it's super cheap and we're coming out of a very steep downtrend, right? SiriusXM, their stock has had quite a lot of volatility to it, right? If we jump out to a 1-year chart here and put it on like a week time frame, we can see a little bit more of their price action, right? So when they first IPO'd, they had a huge uptrend. I mean, all the way up to $69 and maybe even a little bit higher than that. But since then, they've downtrended pretty steeply. Do I think it's going to get back up to that former level? No. Do I think that this stock has some crazy upside potential? Absolutely. Another thing to pay attention to, though, is that with SiriusXM, we do have earnings coming out on if we just click on this right here, we'll see the 1st of August, 2024, right? So earnings can definitely bring a lot of volatility, but I do think that this is a nice buy right now if you're willing to hold for the long term. On Friday, we saw a huge day. Wednesday, huge day, right? Over 13% on Wednesday and 5% on Friday. We did push a little bit higher on Friday before coming back down at close, over 18%, right? We did come back down. If we jump to a day chart here, we can kind of see that move, right? So kind of a deep dive, but not too bad for SiriusXM. I still have it to the upside, and I think that this stock can definitely recover. Satellite radio might be going a little bit out, but there's still some people that definitely use it. And I'm sure that, maybe eventually they'll release something more cutting edge to fit modernity needs, right? Because they are kind of going a little out, but definitely still have it to the upside here. And it's very, very cheap. So, you're not risking too much here with SiriusXM. But that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning to the Trading Table. This has been Andrew and Landon, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for our weekly outlook.